Hey everyone. How are you? How are you? How are you? I am Melissa P. Dunn. I am the host of MD. Lord have mercy. Come on in, come on in, come on in. I haven't done this in such a long time. Trying out something new, y'all. Trying out something new. Welcome to the Done Wisdom Show. I am just popping on for a minute to have a conversation with you and to kind of share with you what's happening in my world, to listen to what's happening in your world, and to see how I can support you. So if you are watching, I want you to type in the chat and just say hello. I am so happy to see you. I'm so happy that you have joined the conversation. Again, I am Melissa P. Dunn. I'm CEO of MD Marketing and Consulting, the host of the Done Wisdom Show, and of course, commissioner in the city of Lauderhill. And I am super passionate about using my skills, my talents in order to help move communities forward. And so tonight, I just wanted to check in for a minute and say hello, number one. Number two, to ask you if you have been watching the rebranded Done Wisdom show. So you may know, if you've been following me, that we were able to create a partnership with Paradise TV, Channel 18. And through that partnership, the Done Wisdom show is not only on this platform that you're watching now, mainly YouTube and Facebook, but it's also on television. And I am so happy to collaborate with Paradise TV to create content that introduces you to individuals who are moving the community forward, leaders, change makers, folks who are using their gifts, their skills, and their talent in order to make the world a better place. We have already aired, I believe, three really amazing episodes. The first episode was with Yvonne Poubien, who is a retired Lauderhill police officer turned entrepreneur. And the second episode was with Ruth Jean, who is an immigration attorney that gives amazing, amazing tips that you can share with your friends, family, or the community at large on how to navigate these challenging times that we're facing right now with all of the ICE raids, right? So she gives some amazing tips. Again, another Lauderhill Shines business owner from the city of Lauderhill. Super proud of the work and the conversation that we had together. And the last episode, I interviewed my colleague in the city of Hollywood, Commissioner Shuham, who shared not only her vision for the city of Lauderhill, but her vision as well for serving the city, serving Broward County as she is running for office. And on Thursday, we're going to have a conversation with my friend Nancy Mateer Bowen out of Coral Springs, who is going to be um, sharing some of her vision for herself and for her business. Hey, Terrence, thank you so much for joining. I'm so happy to see you. So, what's the conversation we're going to have today? Well, fear is, I think, something that presents itself for most leaders, right? Whether you are trying to make a decision about moving your business forward or moving your family forward, oftentimes the thing that keeps us stuck is fear. The thing that keeps us from moving with purpose is fear. The thing that keeps us out of our purpose is fear. And fear can be such a debilitating thing that it keeps us from reaching our potential spiritually, from reaching our potential economically, and certainly for reaching our leadership potential. And so I am going to share with you some tips and tricks that I hope will support you in overcoming fear, in choosing faith over fear. You know, I remember when I was in grad school at the University of Miami in my early 20s, I remember feeling such overwhelmed by life, by the choice as to how am I going to pay my rent? How am I going to, deal with all of the challenges that come with being a 20 something years old who is trying to put yourself through grad school. And I remember calling my grandmother in Jamaica and telling her about some of the challenges that I was facing. And she said, you know what? Come home. And so I did. I got on a plane and I went to Jamaica. And I'm going to share with you what my grandmother shared with me. So I remember sitting with her. I mean, I remember it like it was yesterday. In Jamaica, we have this kitchen door that opens into the backyard. And my grandmother was sitting on a little stool. She asked me to make her coffee, and she loved to have Blue Mountain coffee with a little bit of condensed milk and a pinch of salt. Now, knowing what I know now about health, that probably was not a good thing to give her because she had high blood pressure and diabetes. But nevertheless, I made her coffee and I sat at her feet and I shared with her, I poured my heart out and shared with her the challenges that I was going through in America. And I cried. I cried my eyes out. And I asked her, I'm like, Mama, Grandma, why is it that life is so hard? Right? Why is it that it feels like I'm always taking one step forward and two steps backwards? And my grandmother told me something that I will never forget. She said to me, baby, in life, you everybody always has it hard, either in the beginning, the middle, or the end. And as a 22 or 23-year-old, I felt like up until that point, my life was hard, right? Growing up in Jamaica with my mother in America and like all of the things that come with that. So I felt like I had my life hard, but that statement from my grandmother reminded me that nothing lasts forever. That statement from my grandmother filled me with such hope and such faith that I knew since my beginning was hard, then surely, God willing, my middle or the end part of my life will be a lot easier. And I can tell you that challenges are a regular part of life, right? They are things that will help you to shape your character. They're things that help you to work out the parts of you that needs to be pruned and cut away so that the best part of you can emerge. And one of those things that I believe hold a lot of people back is fear. Fear keeps you stuck. It keeps you playing small. It keeps you from fulfilling your greatest potential. So, I have a question for you. If you have a big dream, I mean, big dream, I mean, change the world big dream for yourself, for your family, and your business, are you more likely to charge ahead or are you more likely to stay back from fear? I want you to answer that question in your journal tonight. And if the answer is that you're more likely to stay back from fear, then I want you to do this. I want you to look that fear in the eye. Call it what it is. Name it. I am afraid because. And then ask yourself this: is it true? For example, I am afraid to bid on that contract because I'm not good at sales. Is that true? Is that a fact? Maybe you're not good at sales now, but with training, could you become full? Could you become good with sales? So I want you to name the emotion, right? And I want you to ask yourself, is the reasoning that you're afraid, is it really true? And if the answer is anything other than no, then here's my other question. Why are you holding on to it? Does it serve you? Sometimes it's important for us to release what's holding us back. And guess what? It doesn't always happen overnight. Sometimes it's a step by step by step process. So, using that example of what's holding you back, right? So, I'm going to share with you a fear that I'm currently working my way through sales. Wow. So, I grew up with my grandmother saying to me, what you have, you give God thanks for, and what you don't have, you do without, right? So, asking people for money, no, I don't like it. I don't like it. And up until now, I have avoided it. But guess what? As an entrepreneur, you've got to be willing to communicate your value and ask for the sale. Certainly, as an elected official, I've got to be able to fundraise, right? So that's a fear that we get to walk through. So let me see what you're saying. Hold on, Terrence. Child, you know what? He says, honestly, a fear of public speaking at the time. Well, let's explore that a little bit, Terrence. What is it about public speaking that makes you feel fear? Talk to me. Let's talk about that. All right. Very timely and much appreciated. Well, tell me, your gal can cook. What is it that you're afraid of? And is it true? Type in the chat. I'm curious. So, that example that I shared with you for me around sales, I know it's not true, right? Because guess what? I offer a lot of value. I'm offering you value right now. I offer my community value. And there's nothing wrong with being compensated well for the value that you bring. All right, let's see what you're saying here, Mr. Powell. He says, not conveying your ideas, your thoughts, and your feelings. So here's my question. What's the worst thing that could happen if you don't convey your ideas, your thoughts, and your feelings? And she says the audience responds whether they're receptive or you're just getting a no. Yeah, I get it. That no can be really challenging. It really can be challenging. I fully acknowledge that. But this is where you have to be clear about where your validation comes from, right? So if I have this thing that I say that success is an inside out job. So where does your validation come from? Does it come from the audience or does it come from you? There certainly is a symbiotic relationship between the two, right? He says, I feel you will lose an opportunity that, oh, wow. I get it. I get it. I get it. But guess what? Your thoughts trigger your emotions. Your emotions inspire your actions, and your actions produce your result, right? So the more you focus on the fear, it's the more it creates a visceral response that keeps you from even trying. And the truth is, public speaking is a skill. It's a skill that you can acquire. Let me plug in my computer. You would have thought I would have done that before we started, but I didn't. I'll be right back, y'all. Well, yeah, public speaking is a skill that you can acquire. You can teach yourself how to be an amazing speaker. And with practice and exposure, you can be really good at it. How do you feel about that? How do you feel about that, Terrence? He said, okay. She says, your gal can cook. She says, so true. Which part are you agreeing with? True that that you could lose the opportunity, or true that the fear of disappointment? I get it. I get it. I get it. I get it. So here's what I encourage you to do. Here's what I encourage you to do, both of you. Okay. I encourage you tonight for you to take out a journal, and I want you to workshop the idea. So create a line on a sheet of paper. On one side, put your fear, and on the other side, put the word faith. Okay. Fear and faith. And I want you to ask yourself, let's see what you're saying here, Terrence. Terrence says, I feel like sometimes I'm really good, and this time is kind of a struggle. But I do know that I need to work on it. And work on it you can. And the good news is, Terrence, you don't have to work on it by yourself, right? That's something you can seek support with. That's something that you can learn, the skill set that you can acquire. But do this exercise with me. Take out a sheet of paper tonight when you're journaling. Write fear on one end and faith on the other end. And I want you to list all of the things about public speaking that you're afraid of. And then I want you to ask yourself, number one, is it true? Number two, how can you convert that fear into faith? How can you convert that fear into an act of faith? Right? How can you do that? So you say that sometimes you think that you're really good, but you kind of struggle, and it's something you know you need to work on. I think I saw somewhere where you said that you have a fear of disappointment. So what would it take in order for you to feel confident in your skills and the value that you bring as an entrepreneur, the skills and the value that you bring as a chef, the skills and the value that you bring? What would it take for that to be your default? Have that conversation with yourself. So, for example, with the example that I gave around my fear of selling, one of the things that I had to do to transmute that fear into an act of faith is I had to reposition sales in my mind. I had to reframe it. So for me now, I no longer refer to it as sales. I refer to it as enrollment, because I know how to communicate my ideas. I know how to share my vision. I know how to share my value. So it is now having a conversation where I get to listen to the person who may be in need of my service, and to see how the value that I bring could support them in moving their life or their business forward, right? So I reframe it. So it's no longer sales. Instead, it's now enrollment. It's now supporting someone in having something show up in their life, in their business so powerfully that it moves them forward. So, rephrasing it and repositioning the word is one way that I am transmuting the fear of selling into the faith of selling, or rather, enrollment. Okay. Another thing is to think about how can I get better? Because I understand that sales or enrollment is a skill that can be acquired. So how can I get better? So the action steps that I'm taking to improve on that is education. Listen, I'm watching a whole lot of YouTube videos, okay? I'm learning about principles of business and economics from the Bible. How does Solomon, the wisest man in the Bible, how does he do business? And those economic principles are helping me to reframe how I look at selling versus enrollment, right? So that's the second thing that I'm doing to transmute a fear into an act of faith. And then the third thing is to identify the one thing that I get to do every single day in order for me to face the fear, because practice becomes perfect, or rather, perfect practice becomes perfect performance, right? So for me, that means making 5 calls a day. Do I always make 5 calls a day? No. But for now, in the beginning, I have the intention, and I do maybe 5 a week, and eventually it'll get better. So, part of what I want to encourage you is to go ahead and take the journey. Choose faith over fear, because really and truly, that is the only way you will find real freedom. Freedom to live, freedom to have the kind of business that you want to have, freedom to have the kind of time that you want to have. True freedom begins with overcoming fear and not allowing it to control you anymore. I'm so happy that that helped you, Terrence. Thank you for allowing me to support you in this. Yes, girl, choose fear, choose faith over fear, choose faith over fear, and you could never, ever, ever go wrong. Because here's what I know for sure: all of us have a calling, all of us have an assignment, all of us have something that we can contribute, not only to ourselves and our families, but to our communities, and in fact to the entire world. Somebody is waiting for you to step fully into your greatness so that you may become the destiny helper that they've been praying for, so that you may become the solution that they've been praying for. So I encourage you right now is to make a decision to release whatever it is that's stopping you from walking fully into your greatness. Make that decision. Release the fear. Step into your greatness. Know that you are important. Know that you are called. Know that your life has meaning and that you are indeed enough. You're enough. You are enough. So I want to thank you so much for joining me. I hope to come on live at least once a week just to say hello, to check in. I encourage you to keep watching the Done Wisdom Show. Give us your feedback, share it. We are making this content with love. We're going to be introducing you to amazing change makers, entrepreneurs, and power players that will help support you through sharing their stories of leadership, their stories of resilience, and their stories of impact. So, again, my name is Melissa P. Dunn, award-winning entrepreneur, public servant, philanthropist, and of course, your partner in moving communities forward. Thank you for joining, and I encourage you to walk good. Let's see. All right. She says, positive vibes right here. Thanks be to God. Indeed, indeed. All right, everyone. Be well. Thank you so much for joining me for this live. If you want to learn more about what we have to offer, actually go to our YouTube channel or just really like this video, share it so that other people can learn from us as well. All right. And don't forget, our next episode of the Done Wisdom Show premieres on Thursday at 7 a.m. I'm sorry, 7 p.m. It premieres on Thursday at 7 p.m. Blessings to you too, my dear. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Powell. Be well, everyone.